In our Texas Wendish noodle recipe cookbook, it talks about how noodles are different than pasta. This one says, Tanta Louisa, my great aunt Louise Krakowski, always said, Das ist nicht pasta, das ist noodles. That means you do not just boil them in water, you must let the noodles absorb all the flavorful broth. And this recipe is done with her in mind. And by the way, Wendish noodles are a side dish. They're served as a side dish similar to potatoes, or instead of potatoes, we'll have a meat, a vegetable, and noodles. We are ready now to make traditional Wendish chicken noodles. We're going to cook the noodles that Chelsea dried and cut for us. The first thing we do is bring our water to a boil. After it is boiling, we add a little bit of salt and some butter. A bit of butter and a lot of chicken broth. Now, the traditional way would be to butcher a chicken and use the chicken feet and the chicken wings and make a stock, but today we're just going to use bought chicken broth, which is also very good. Stir it a little bit, bring it back to a boil. This is a bag of Wendish noodles that our noodle ladies have made. They made this one this week. The noodle recipe is right here, how to cook the noodles. But I'm going to take that out. I'm going to grab about a handful of noodles, and my broth is boiling nicely, so I'm going to add the noodles to the broth. And then, as soon as the noodles are in the broth, I will stir them. And as soon as they come back to a boil, I will boil for about 5 minutes. There they are, starting to boil. The noodles are in the broth, and the broth is boiling nicely now. I'm going to turn it a little bit lower so it won't boil over. But it still continues to boil. We'll boil for about 5 minutes. Okay, these noodles are simmering in the chicken broth for about 5 minutes, and it's been about 5 minutes now, so I'm going to turn the heat off and put a lid on, and then we let the noodles sit in the broth for about 30 minutes to an hour so they absorb all of the chicken broth and have the good chicken flavor in them. We do not drain them. They are served that way, with the broth absorbed into the noodles. Okay? These noodles are ready when they have absorbed most of the broth, the chicken broth. They're ready to serve. Some people put parsley on them to make them taste good, and other people even use nutmeg. Or you can just serve them like they are.